So, let's talk about something that's on every business leader's mind. Companies are pouring millions, sometimes billions, into AI and data. But are they actually seeing a return on that investment? For most, the answer is a big, frustrating no. In this explainer, we're going to dig into why that is, and we'll uncover the one critical connection that most organizations are completely missing. And this right here, this quote captures a feeling that I bet is super familiar in boardrooms everywhere. You've got mountains of data, right? Endless dashboards, a whole library of KPIs, but you still don't really know why things are happening. You don't know which lever to pull to actually make things better. It's this huge, frustrating disconnect. And that right there, that leads us to the central problem we're all facing. We live in this era of being data-rich but insight-poor. It feels like we're drowning in a sea of information, but we're starving for the kind of real, actionable insights that actually drive business value. And the result? Well, it's pretty stark. All that money poured into data lakes and data fabrics and warehouses, it just ends up being a massive cost center, not a value driver. You get this technically beautiful project that, at the end of the day, fails to move the needle on what actually matters, the bottom line. Okay, so how do companies usually try to fix this? Well, they typically attack it from two completely different angles. And what that does is create two very distinct and almost always separate silos in the organization, one for data and one for process. So on one side of the house, you've got the world of data. The fancy term for this is logical data management, or LDM. Just think of this as the what. It's all about the information itself. And on the other side, you've got logical process management, or LPM. This is the how, the way work actually gets done. Okay, let's use a simple analogy to make this super clear. Imagine your business is a high-performance car. Well, logical data management, or LDM, is the fuel. Its whole purpose is to create this single, unified source of super high-quality data. Think of it like pure, high-octane, perfectly consistent fuel that's ready to power the engine. All right, so if data is the fuel, then logical process management, or LPM, that's the engine itself. This is all about the how. It's the business rules, the workflows. It defines exactly how the pistons fire, how the gears turn, and how all that fuel gets turned into real motion and power. And you can really see this when you put them side by side. LDM is completely focused on data and what it means. Its goal is a perfect, unified data layer. But LPM, it's all about workflows and automation. They produce totally different things and are pointed in completely different directions. They're just operating in separate universes. And that separation, that is the absolute heart of the problem. You've got these two incredibly powerful initiatives, but there's literally no connection between them, which of course brings us right back to our car. So, you can have the best, purest fuel in the world and the most incredible advanced engine design ever created. But what happens if there's no fuel line connecting them? Absolutely nothing. You just have a puddle of premium gasoline next to a beautifully engineered engine, producing 0 horsepower. And this, right here, is the perfect picture of what's happening in most companies today. So, the big question is, how do we actually build that fuel line? How do we connect them? The solution is a really powerful idea called Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE. This is the framework that finally bridges that massive gap. Think of IPE as the fuel lines, the spark plugs, the whole system that connects that amazing fuel to that powerful engine. It is the connective tissue that turns all these separate parts into a single, cohesive, high-performance machine. It makes sure the right data gets to the right process at exactly the right time to drive a decision and create some real forward momentum. Now, just look at how IPE completely changes the game here. LDM, its goal is unified data. LPM, its goal is efficient processes. But IPE is aiming for something so much bigger, measurable business results. The entire focus shifts away from just technical outputs and toward creating end-to-end value. It stops being an IT problem or an operations problem and becomes a shared business mission. And this all brings us to the true secret, the actual formula for unlocking that AI and data ROI you've been looking for. It's not about just adding more data or tacking on more automation. No, the relationship is way more powerful than that. Okay, here is the absolute crucial point, so listen up. The formula is multiplicative, not additive. It's data times process equals value. That little multiplication sign changes everything. It means a weakness in one area doesn't just subtract a little from the total.
It devastates it. A zero in either your data or your process means you get zero value. Period.
Let's make this real. Here's a super common scenario. A company goes all in on their data platform and gets a fantastic data score, let's say a 9 out of 10. Awesome. But their business processes are a total mess, a 2 out of 10. So what happens? You multiply 9 by 2, and you get a pretty pathetic 1.8x return on your investment. All that incredible data is basically being wasted by bad process. But what happens when we fix that? Look at this. The same company keeps its amazing 9 out of 10 data score, but this time they invest in getting their processes right, bringing that score up to a 9 as well. The result? 9 times 9 is 81. You get a whopping 8.1x return. That is the incredible multiplicative power of connecting great data with great process. The ROI isn't just a little bit better, it's on a completely different level.
Okay, this leads us to probably the single most important insight of this whole thing. Sequencing is everything. Most companies get this completely backward. They build these giant data platforms, and then they try to figure out, okay, what do we do with all this? The right way, the way to guarantee value, is to start with the process. First, you define how work needs to get done and what decisions need to be made. That tells you exactly what data you need. Then you go build the data systems to support those specific needs. That's how you flip your data infrastructure from being a speculative cost center into a laser-focused value engine. So I want to leave you with this one crucial question to take back to your own organization. Are you building a data center, just a giant repository, collecting data and just kind of hoping insights will appear? Or are you intentionally building a value engine, a complete system where data and process are engineered to work together to create measurable, undeniable business value? Because as we've just seen, the difference between the two is absolutely everything.